Only 2 more chapters to go. I gotta say, it's pretty surreal. Before I begin the review, I have to say this one is going to be difficult. The best I can say is this was an excellent chapter, with Ishida's writing strength at its finest. That said, it's difficult because it is a case of an incredible, well-written monologue, adding with a strong visual that a review cannot do it justice. Much similar to a silent chapter, it's all about the journey and the meaningful message that speaks profoundly to Kaneki and everyone. The best I can do is to cut down the action presentation first, then the monologue that leads to the breaking point. When it comes to the visual aspect, it's highly engaging, with the intensity and eerie imagery. The story is the last man standing, the last test of survival, and the last mission before going home. The bar was set in the last chapter, so here begins the frightening and moving struggle. What I adore is how well Kaneki performed against these creepy Kagane that look ready to form a new human. The image gives a chilling vibe that he is outnumbered and haunted like it's out of his league. That's where Kaneki just goes all in and uses the fighting technique that resemble his friends. Whether this is considered an Easter egg or not, it doesn't feel out of place. Well executed with choreograph. It holds a deeper meaning when understanding his character as a whole. It may not show the comparison, but it didn't need to. The idea is to have a satisfaction from a different way. If a fan can't be satisfied without knowing the depth, it's a win. It's pretty neat how Kaneki can manipulate his Kagane to resemble his friends, sticking to his Kagane's shape. He pulls Nishiki's serpent, then Hinami's four-pronged chimera, then Shu's spiral, and lastly Toka's blast. You gotta save your lover for the last. It's really fascinating. What's also fascinating is the tension behind this battle. Once again, have this been a series about becoming a king of the pirate or Hokage or whatever Shonen goal is, this would have been less terrifying. However, the last chapter left a disturbing feeling of Kaneki may not return. With that in mind, this whole chapter had me floored with frightening beating and torture. I don't think he would die before reaching to his destination, but the pains and struggle got to me. Despite how well he was handling by himself, every corner keeps popping a new enemy to eat him alive. The one aspect that I adore from this series is the emphasis on the pain. I know I sound insane, but it does leave a powerful impact. I cringe when Kaneki got chopped on, looking ready to die at any second. One part that got me a bit shocked was there's a single page of wretched teeth crunch like it finally took a bite of Kaneki. He survives, but he's incredibly winded by this point, using the sword to hang on. It was intense and satisfying. However, it could have been done without the monologue. The show stealer is the monologue. Next to going in depth with the characters, Ishida's strength is written lines. As soon as the chapter begins with the infamous line from the first chapter about tragedy and main character, I knew 2 things going in. This chapter is going to be brilliant, and this is the definitive end for Kaneki's character arc. I thought the last chapter was perfect enough, but Ishida tops it once again. The message is about how he once believed that his character is made for a tragedy, but in reality, he now sees that everyone is a main character in their own tragedy. This is a sign of how he no longer separates himself from the world. He speaks how everyone have their own reason to steal, as well as to be stolen, because the reality is human. That's who we are. That's how life works. Each comparison and reflection involves his experience, bringing a sense of understanding. Under a supernatural genre with Ghoul, it speaks profoundly about human nature. The message becomes sadder when Kaneki begins to describe that life is sad because despite fighting ceaselessly save themselves from loss, they will eventually lose someone and one day to be forgotten. That's depressing, yet true to how life works, is one that hit me hard. It is painful to think that eventually one will disappear and we have to accept it. There's no other way around it, but it does deliver a powerful moral. Even though the end is inevitable, is no reason to stop and wait for it. Like Kaneki's past, there's always a reason to move forward, reason to enjoy the life you are given. The line about beautiful reminds me of Gintama's quote, living beautiful until you die. Everything that Kaneki described is what he has gone through, and it all comes down to choice. No longer undecided on his path, he knows what needs to be done. It's tragic that it all comes down to a full circle. Ishida did a tremendous job to time the choice of words and visual that brought out a powerful effect. The endpoint complemented his address and action that heavily reflected by his experience. The sadness that Kaneki's face when facing a reality to kill Rize in order to save everyone is telling. After what Rize said, whether it is his mind or her conscience, the choice to make no longer hinders him to think otherwise. It doesn't mean it's easy, but that's the story. Nothing ever is. The final 2 double-page spread is profound. The final stares from the 2 is captivating. Kaneki has to do what he must do, so killing her is the only option. She looks wretched by so many dragon symptoms running through her body. I don't even know she's conscious anymore. The sympathy look of his is disheartening. The last double-page spread implies that he has killed her, saying thank you for his chosen life. The circle is complete. It occurs to me that perhaps the story isn't about Rize becoming godly, but forever trapped as a vessel. Looking back in the past chapter, she never really left her place. Perhaps that's why she and Kaneki had one last communication before leaving or resuming their life. You can say Kaneki is doing the favor to end her misery. If she comes out and fight godly, then I am wrong entirely. Otherwise, it's a tragic end. But that's her life. Kaneki may feel bad, but he chose this path to end his maker. Even after finishing the review, it doesn't do any justice on his delivery. It's uncertain on how the series will end. It's certain, however, that this was an excellent chapter that solidified Kaneki's character. The overall presentation is stellar. Clearly, Ishida is giving everything before calling it rest. Only 2 more chapters to go. The end is near. And that will do it for the review. I hope you enjoyed this one. Only 2 more chapters, huh? I'm not sure how this is going to end. I don't know what the future lies ahead, but I'm not going to think until we reach to the final chapter. Before I discuss the series as a whole, I'm really enjoying these last chapters that revolves with Kaneki and his character arc. Doesn't mean there's no possibility for part 3. I can't say anything else because it's really hard to read on what is going on. If there is, there is. If there's not, there's not. I'll save that discussion when the final chapter arrives. So until then, let's all join together and enjoy the final 2 chapters. What do you think of the chapter? How do you think it's going to end? What do you expect from the last 2 chapters? Share your thoughts in the comment section. If you like this and want more of this, subscribe to my channel and my world will be yours to stay. Until next time, take care.